Well, hello, Bob Dendry here, and welcome back to Transport Fever 2, The Long Game. So last week we did a little bit of work getting, I guess, a conclusion to our Cross River main line in, and we also implemented a new food industry chain for those sort of surrounding areas. I also want to take the opportunity right now to welcome my first Founders Club patron, Caleb. Caleb, thanks so much for coming on board, and I hope you enjoy the content. Before I go on, I also want to give a bit of a shout out to Neighbor Kid, who is the maker of the Central Pacific Jupiter set. Now, you might have remembered a couple of episodes ago, these sort of loaded all as separate trains, and I was like, oh, that's not great. Neighbor Kid, and I don't know how he's even come to find my channel, but whatever, commented on and said, yeah, I see that's an issue. I know what the problem is. I'm going to fix it. And look, it is fixed. So yeah, big shout out and thank you for watching the content as well. Okay, so my idea for this episode, should be done this episode, but it might potentially go on to the next one. It's a bit of a weird one. I don't know if it makes the most sense. I don't know if it'll work in practice, but I'm hopeful that it will. So basically, as you would have known if you followed this, we've got a variety of different industrial chains we're running for different parts of the network that are servicing some local areas, some are, pushing all the way across the map, and it's not particularly organized. Now, what I'd like to do is really double down on the idea of trip trains for our our end products. Like if we pop over to LA here, for example, we've got fuel. And looking at the towns that need fuel, we've got LA, Santa Rosa, Perea, Chandler, even as far as Everett needs fuel. And at the moment, what we've done is we've just put a single train on that runs from LA, it runs all the way through to Chandler, then it runs back. It's not particularly efficient, and it doesn't really do much aside from that one thing. Now, what I would like to do, we've got a few different hubs that are being used for industrial purposes that are feeding through to different towns. For example, we've got the one at LA I've mentioned. We've got this one here that services our construction materials plant. To a lesser extent, we've got this one here at Oklahoma City, but that one's a little bit out of the way. And all the way over here, we've got one at Dayton as well. And what I'd like to see if we can do is basically run trains as spokes into these hubs, bringing in our finished product, and then run some long trains, multiple ones, that are just going to run on the main line, basically from LA, for example, to Laredo Construction Materials, potentially stopping at Oklahoma City Central maybe, and then on to Dayton. And then we have some smaller trains that might only run to, a couple of different cities. And those trains will take the end products, they'll take multiple different types of goods on the one train, and should sort of serve as a bit of a last mile. It's not really a last mile because they're going, quite a few kilometers, these ones, but they're not these large, long trains that are just focusing on one single thing, which in some cases might not make sense. So I would like to give it a go and see how it goes, essentially. So as a bit of a pilot, I think I would like to run it from LA just through to Laredo and have some trip trains sort of running amongst the area there. And so we would have like trains running from Albuquerque, bringing some food in here as well. And fingers crossed that makes sense, and fingers crossed it'll work. But once again, this is purely just an experiment. Don't know if it'll work, but I'm hoping it will. So what we're going to do at LA, we will have goods from our goods factory flowing in here and fuel from the fuel refinery flowing in here. We will then have a long, large train that will run to Laredo and then return. Now, at this point, I was going to say there's nothing we're going to really have from Laredo, but we'll probably get food from there. And then we will be able to have some trains that run to Wichita, to Chandler, and hopefully make sense. In fact, Albuquerque is not food. Ignore me. I'm an idiot. They make beer there. But then we've got that opportunity that we can run trains, multi-purpose trains that'll save us hopefully a bit of money and hopefully a bit of network capacity. All right, so I'm going to put a train on running from LA south to LA. And that will basically be feeding our goods over there. I don't know if this will work, but maybe it will. Just a nice 10-wheeler we might get on for this one. Doesn't need to be massively powerful or massively long, really, because it's going to be a fairly frequent train. So we'll take it up to mediocre, and then we'll leave it. Now, this is not going to have any demand right now. And that is okay. Next, we're going to create a new train. It's going to run from, as I said, from LA to Laredo and return. No other stops. This is going to be a probably more powerful train, so we'll probably look at one of these 460s. And it's just going to be using boxcars and nothing else. What we might actually do, we will run it from LA, but we'll run it to Laredo, as we mentioned we were going to do, which we might need to put another through track in there. And then we'll actually have it terminate at Oklahoma City or return from Oklahoma City. And we might have it load, but only for like a minute tops, maybe even 30 seconds. So we're not like holding up any lines. Now, our existing fuel train that runs all the way from LA all the way through to Chandler, we're going to remove that train. It's probably a bit old now anyway, so it's probably a good option for us to retire from service. And instead we're going to run a boxcar train, which can carry all goods, including fuel. So obviously these would be like barrels rather than just bulk fuel. And we're just going to run it from LA to Santa Rosa to Perea. Potentially through to Albuquerque, but we're not going to have anything that Albuquerque needs right now. We'll put it on there anyway, just to make sure. So LA to Santa Rosa to Perea fuel is massively overloaded. There's actually running 2 trains right now. I didn't realize that, but they're both 440s. So we'll probably actually retire both of these, I think. They're very low capacity as well. And we will give those a retirement. What are you waiting for? You're waiting for that. What are you waiting for? There's a lot of waiting going on right now. Wait, where are you going? Okay, never mind. You make sense what you're doing. Yep. Is A-okay. All right, we're going to scrap this 440. It's old, not required. We're sort of going to be trying to get rid of those from our fleet, basically, at this point. Instead, we will... Let's have a look. We probably will go with a 10-wheeler. And essentially, it's going to be a shorter service that's just going to run between our towns. We'll go up to 240 meters, I would say, at this point. And we can up it some more if we need to. Or, add potentially further trains on. So this will start at LA. We'll run to Santa Rosa, Perea, and then we can have it terminate at Laredo. And then basically the same trip back. So that's going to service the towns and it'll allow us to pull from both directions. I don't know if that makes sense. Let's see, I guess. Let's see if that works. Who knows, though. Oh, we actually need to bump up the length of this station as well. I forgot about this. I was actually going to do this, and we didn't end up doing it. Let's whack on pause here. Delete a few bits of track. And we'll get this expanded. Yeah, we might get a few more buildings on that. We'll just up our capacity if we need to store more goods here. And we'll get unpaused. And there we go. We've got our nice new expanded length freight train. All right, the next stage of this little train network is going to cover Albuquerque and Chandler. So what we're going to do, we're going to run a train from Laredo North. It's going to hook up through here, stop off at Albuquerque, and then use our newly constructed triangle here to then head through the town of Albuquerque and then terminate at Chandler and return. So this one isn't going to be running between two of these hubs. It's just going to basically just run by itself. And we may potentially consider putting a through connection here as well to save on the return journey length as well. Now we are currently running a train directly from LA to Chandler. So once again, this one is going to be removed from service. What is this one running? I think this is a 440 as well, right? Yeah, based on the capacity it is. So we will scrap this vehicle as well. And we'll get a new one purchased and run that one. So let's have a look at the 280. So this is pretty crap, to be honest, compared to everything else we've got. So, whoops. Oh, but it is cheap. It is right about that. So yeah, it could be potentially for maybe some lower sort of flat trains, not going to be covering much. And it has a higher top speed as well. So yeah, it is actually a legitimate option, just not for what we're looking at right now. And this one will get its own line. So once again, this one's going to be running from Laredo to Albuquerque, and then on to terminate at Chandler. Looking at our line from LA Oil Refinery to LA Fuel Refinery, we've got, what, 470 oil waiting here and a capacity of like 150, so we need to do something there. We need to get another train on there for sure and potentially upgrade this one as well. We've got a passing loop here. This station will need to be lengthened as well because we're going to get these up to 320 meters long, so I might do that. And then, yeah, we should be good to upgrade it. Bit of an ugly connection, but it's fine. All right, so let's get the new train on. Going to be a 10-wheeler again. And 320 meters long. Is likely going to fall to poor, actually. Oh no, it's still mediocre. So we will do that, and it's going to be on LA Oil, I believe. Perfect. So that will increase our throughput here as well. We're starting to see a bit more take up here at our goods factory wanting to go to LA, but potentially it's wanting to go to Los Angeles anyway, so that may not make the most sense. Got a bit of a train block situation here, which is only like a temporary thing, because we have trains sort of coming from our depot, but I'm just going to pop in a quick passing loop here anyway, which should hopefully just prevent this from being an issue. Now, as part of the next stage here, we are actually going to take our cross river freight trip train and we're going to extend it through to Dayton and then return. We do have the opportunity as well that we can utilize some of our food trains. Not you, you're okay. That are just currently running one of these long distance services. They're actually in pretty decent condition, so we can switch across one of those to run on our sort of trip service. I reckon one of these... No, that's actually our new train that we've just put in. Where are you? This guy here. So we'll let it finish its run right now because it's full of food, and then we'll switch it over to run on this new sort of concept route we're running. All right, so that train has now finished its run. So we will get it switched over to the... we could, in fact, just switch both over, to be honest. To our trip train, and that will allow us to decommission this route. Which, once again, is going to hopefully help simplify this. That means we are going to need to put on our sort of last couple of miles, shall we say, which will run from Oklahoma to Laredo. Luckily, we've already got a good candidate here, which is currently running... Oh, actually... Yeah, actually, no, it's still a good candidate. It's currently running through Albuquerque as well, but instead what we will do, we'll have it run from Wichita. We will need to turn this into a through track as well. In fact, we might as well do both while we're here. Massive crossover there. Might do something a bit different. Go straight out, do our crossover there. Oh man. And then we'll do the old join. All right, now we can finish this off. So it'll then stop at Oklahoma City to the main hub and then return. Lovely. Hopefully. Next, we'll get our sort of last mile train from Dayton through to Oklahoma and return. This one is actually pretty simple, and the current corridor is underutilized as well. So I think we've got a really good opportunity to actually feed everything all of these towns need that we're not really currently doing for them. We will need to add freight platforms at Wilmington, and we'll probably stick some public transport in here while we're at it because it's not going great, let's be honest. But yeah, definitely let's get a freight platform in here. Get a truck unload stop over here. That will cover everything. And we'll also get a couple of bus stops in as well. All right, we are covered off there, and we have a train that we can already use. Not that one. It is the train that we were running to take our food around the place. We can just put that on a new line and get rid of the food line that we're currently running with. You're the one I was after. So we will instead put you... Actually, your current one is fine, actually. We just need to add the extra stops, and then we're good. So stopping at Dayton South, onto Dayton. Stop at Wilmington in the middle there. We'll fix that, that's fine. Glendale. Oklahoma, and then return. What's our problem? Why can't we go between these towns? We haven't connected them up is the reason. So that, yes, a fairly simple explanation. This is all very excellent planning by myself. Cool, so that is fine. I am cognizant of the fact we have some bi-die running here at Wilmington. In fact, all of these stations. Oh, actually, hang on. No, you're not going to Oklahoma City. You're going to Oklahoma City Central. My mistake. Get rid of that one. Now, I'm really hoping that this works. This was basically just a shot in the dark for me. I don't know if it actually does anything or will do anything. Our machine factory here is a bit of an outlier, though potentially we could just run that straight to Oklahoma City Central and then distribute from there. Potentially. So let's have a look and see. Do we have a multitude of different goods waiting places? Not really, we don't, to be honest. Who are you and where do you go? Okay, cool. So you are Burrito to Oklahoma City Freight. I really should have named all of these lines, but I didn't. You're okay. You're okay for the moment, but we could actually utilize the same train that's running our goods to do that, but we'll leave it for the moment. And I'm guessing line 3 is, yeah, just getting our marble. Cool. All right. All right. So we've got more work to do here. This isn't everything, but I'm pretty happy with how things are looking right now. This sort of hub and spoke system was actually the word I was looking for earlier, but couldn't find. I think it has the opportunity to lessen the slow stopping trains, I think. Rather than having a train stopping at every station for every type of good, we can sort of consolidate them together and just have a few longer trains running between our sort of major destinations. And I think it can also, I guess, normalize the supply around the place. So if you've got maybe a massive food, for example, over here in Oklahoma, but Dayton needs more food that you can provide, then that can be an option that you can sort of move them between the places, things like that. But yeah, all in all, I think this is a good idea. Famous last words. Alrighty, and we have our freight train. Alright, and we've got our mainline freight train arriving here at Laredo. It does have some goods on board that it has brought from LA. From here, it'll be going on to Oklahoma City. And so we might jump on board and see where the journey takes us. Hope you enjoy. And here we are arriving at Oklahoma City Central. Unfortunately, we didn't actually bring any goods with us, or freight, I should say, but I believe in this. Looks like we've got a lot of food that's ready to ship out, so fingers crossed we can get that to the right places. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this this little ride along, and hopefully we can get this new sort of network working really, really well. Well, there you go. That's about all we have time for in this episode. I hope you did enjoy it. Bit of a different concept. I don't know if this is accepted practice in the Transport Fever 2 world to build networks in this way, but I thought I would give it a go, and I'm cautiously optimistic that it'll work. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you get a ding to your device the next time I post a video. And if you did enjoy this video, why not give something different a go? You can find a link to my first Kerbal Space Program 2 video on your screen now or shortly. And yeah, I'd encourage you to go give it a look and tell me what you think. But until next time, I'm Bob Dendry. This is Transport Fever 2, The Long Game. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.